your two hosts, Carlos and Dylan.
Good evening, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Any update on the availability report? Do we know if Banks? Is it Banks? Is he coming back or?
Yeah. I mean, I did not see if he's officially ruled out, but I wouldn't say that I'm expecting Caleb Banks to be out there. I thought it's really nice to see that he's doubtful, which means there's a chance he comes back at the end of the year. I think, as much as people say, why would he do that? Might as well heal up for the NFL. At the same time,
Exactly.
This was a big year for him in proving that he was a first-round talent and proving that he was, kind of boosting his stock a little. So I can see a world where he comes back and tries to get some more tape on for the NFL and prove that he's that top pick. But yeah, I don't think he'll be out there. I think just a couple of names that I noticed. I think Vernell Brown was probable, and I think that's a big one, especially with Eugene Wilson out now, Dallas Wilson out. You went from having a super deep wide receiver room to kind of hoping that VB3 is out there, because other than that, it's kind of starting to small, especially Tank Hawkins is redshirting now.
Yes.
Now you're not having enough names to run out there. So that, I think he's probable. We'll probably see him out there. But yeah, other than that, nothing too much. I mean, you know how it is. Florida's going to have that long list of injuries, and especially at this point in the year where you've been playing a lot of football. It's a tough part in the season where it's kind of like, why would these guys, as long as when they have true injuries, they're not going to rush back unless you're in a situation like Caleb Banks where it's probably beneficial to do so. So, it's tough looking at that injury report, but Florida's still got some talent, and I think, we'll still have some good players running out there on the field on Saturday.
Quick question: is this week 12 or week 13? Because I'm trying to pull up the games while we talk.
Oh man, you putting me on a spot there. I always forget.
It's week 13, week 12.
Yeah,
okay.
week 12. That's what it sounds about right.
I think it is.
I'm always forgetting on that. I always have to search that up when I'm talking
but
about
for some reason, I'm getting the top 25 only. But I'll have you read some games because it's happening to me. I'm getting the top 25 again like last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have my computer here with me, but I can try to help out here and there.
Okay. Yeah, because it's only showing me the top 25. I don't know why it's glitching again like the other time.
Oh man, well, we can even do top 25, a little special episode, top 25.
Okay, no problem. What are your expectations for the game? And I'm going to do a double question on this because I'm hearing that the team is supposedly focused, but there's a lot of noise going on with Lane Kiffin. Are they really focused, or are they just going to go through the motions and try to play spoiler because they love Coach Billy G? Or is the noise gonna get to them because they're, like we've said it before, they're 18, 19-year-old kids?
Yeah, I think, obviously, like you just mentioned, they're 18 to 19-year-old kids. They're on social media. They're gonna see the stuff. They're gonna hear the stuff. But at the same time, I mean, they're football players for the University of Florida. They're focused on being football players for the University of Florida. I don't think, fans love to think about Lane Kiffin. Fans love to, say, oh, I can't wait to have him. But football players, it's a little different. You're focused on staying healthy. You're focused on playing your best brand of football, getting the film that you need to make it to the next level. It's not like they're sitting here like, oh my gosh, Lane Kiffin's such a good coach. I really hope he's our next coach. At the end of the day, they might have their opinions on that, but they're just focused on playing football. I think it's hard for us to understand that, because from a fan point of view, there's a lot of storylines that you watch for, and as a journalist, I love the storylines. It's something that gives me the ability to write about, but players, it's a little different. They live a really different life than we do. So I think they're pretty focused. As for what to expect from the game, I mean, it's tough at this point in the year, especially coming off a loss to Kentucky where it was ugly, to say, oh, I'm really excited. Let's I think we're going to have an amazing game, but I expect Florida to fight. I expect, it's going to be a hostile environment, and I think the Lane Kiffin dynamic adds to that environment. I think that the Ole Miss fans are going to be more rowdy. This is going to mean more to the Ole Miss fans than it might have having a 3-6 team come in normally.
Exactly. Yep.
So I think it'll be fun. I think, you know, Lane Kiffin being on Lane Kiffin watch during this game, after this game, before this game, that will add to it. So it's definitely an exciting game for what it is. I think it's going to be tough for Florida. And obviously you're playing a really good football team, a really good football coach, and you haven't had the season you wanted to. So I'm not going to come out here and say Florida is going to upset Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss like it was last year. I think we're in very different situations than we were last year, but I'm still excited to see, the football team go out there, put their best foot forward. I think we got a lot to see from DJ Lagway. I want to see him continue to improve. I know, last week it was not improvement. It looked like he took a step back again, but I want to see him, improve. I want to see, at least see minor improvements. I want to see the offense kind of look more like they did against Georgia and less like they did against Kentucky.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm just hoping for a good football game. I think that it will have the energy to be one, and I'm excited to see, how Florida looks in these last couple of games.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Next question: Do you believe what's happening on the message boards at Ole Miss yesterday? They're going bananas. I even saw someone kind of accepted it and said, "If Lane leaves, so be it. If Lane stays, so be it." I haven't been able to get the Ole Miss guy on here because I'm not verified on X, as you know, yet. And he won't talk to nobody that's not verified. So, but I've heard some of his interviews. He says it looks a lot like the Auburn search of 2020, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying that he doesn't expect an announcement till after the season. Do you believe that? Because I don't believe what he's saying. I think he's just trying to guess.
Yeah. I think, there's never going to be certainty in college football. We learned that in recruiting. We learned that in the games being played. We learned that every Saturday. So I'm not going to come on here and say I'm certain that Lane Kiffin is going to be a Florida Gator by the end of the week. I'm certain that Lane Kiffin's going to be a Florida Gator at all. I'm certain that Lane Kiffin's going to be a Ole Miss Rebel, in the future.
Yeah,
I think there's never certainty there. I think that this situation will be resolved sooner rather than later. I don't think this continues on till the end of the year because, both sides, they kind of need it to be resolved. I don't think Ole Miss wants, their shot at a college football playoff run to be hindered by a coach that's still thinking, oh, maybe I'm going to go to Florida. Oh, I'm negotiating with Florida and I'm focusing on a playoff run. And I don't think Florida wants to say, yeah, listen, while other coaches are getting scooped up, we're going to sit here and wait for you to make a decision when everyone's gone already. So I think for both sides, it makes a lot more sense if this situation is handled, relatively soon. I think the longer it takes for Lane Kiffin to sign an extension, the more Florida is going to feel good about it because, I'm sure Ole Miss is ponying up for their coach. I think he is, as much as not to disrespect the Ole Miss program, but he's kind of everything they got right now.
Exactly. They've been waiting 50 years for this moment.
Exactly. And I think they are throwing everything at him. So I think Florida feels good about it. I mean, from what I've heard, what I've seen, Florida feels very good about it. I know, there's a lot of information out there on Twitter, on the message boards, everything. And it's hard to tell what's true or fake. But from a couple of trusted sources, I've heard that Florida feels very good about this. I think, if it does happen to an announcement does occur, I think it's sooner rather than later. Like I mentioned, I don't think it extends to the off season. And I think that, Florida is very, very strong in who they want as the head coach of the Florida Gators, which is a great thing. I don't think we wanted them to, I think we wanted them to be firm in their belief. And I think they have that. and Florida can be a very compelling school when they want what they want. So I'm feeling confident. I think that it gets done sooner rather than later, and I think these next couple of weeks, maybe even this week alone, is going to be really fun to watch, and we'll see what happens.
Guys, I'm gonna give a quick take on this. This to me feels like the Urban Meyer search 2.0. When they wanted to go get Urban Meyer, people were saying no, it's not gonna happen. Then a couple weeks later, the Urban Meyer there was a plane from Florida going to Utah, and everybody was going crazy. So if there's another plane going to Ole Miss a couple weeks from now, you know what's gonna happen.
We might even know, earlier than that. We'll see. I think nowadays with how information gets out, we'll be knowing pretty soon, is what I'm guessing.
Because I don't read too much into the Sexton being at Florida because he has a lot of clients. So who knows why Sexton was there?
I agree. I think, like I mentioned, college football is crazy. You're not gonna, Sexton could be here for many reasons. I mean, they could even be talking Lane Kiffin, but that doesn't mean a deal's done.
Exactly.
They're obviously gonna look at every option. Why wouldn't he? He would be dumb not to. So
Yep.
I'm not putting my eggs in one basket. I'm not saying that this is over, but I think we'll know sooner rather than later.
What are your expectations for this game?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a little. I think it's going to be tough for Florida to win this one. I think every game left on their schedule, I mean, there's winnable games, but it's going to be tough, each and every one, even FSU, who might stink a little bit. But anyways, I think it'll be tough. I think my expectations are that Florida comes in and, I think it's going to look a lot more like Georgia than it did Kentucky, in the way that, Florida's not going to look uncompetitive. I think that was really shocking to most of the fan base. I felt like we were the better team than Kentucky. I thought we should
I agree.
better. I think, that might have been even a wake-up call to them. Like, hey, listen, like, the season might be over in a sense. Like, you're not making the college football playoffs. You're quite possibly not making a bowl game. But you still got to finish the season strong. You got people watching. You got, every single Saturday you can get your butt kicked. So you gotta get ready. You gotta be strapped up. You gotta be ready to go. So I think Florida comes in a little more competitive. I think there's gonna be a lot of energy around this game, and it's gonna be a tough one for the Gators to pull off. I think it's gonna be a tough one to even keep it close, because Ole Miss is a great football team coached by a great football head coach. But I think, with Florida's talent, any given Saturday they can win, and I think we'll see an improved Florida squad this week.
I tend to agree with you, even though a lot of Gator Nation is not going to like my prediction when we predict the game. But I have to be a negative Nancy because I haven't seen a lot to excite me, even with the ex 5-star regressing to a point where I can officially say he's regressed.
Yeah.
He hit the sophomore slump. I didn't want to say that at the beginning because we were a dark horse to make the playoffs. And now we might end up being 6-6.
That would be nice. I hope so. That would be the best case scenario, Carlos.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think we will beat FSU. Question to me is, are we going to be able to put a fight up in Ole Miss and Tennessee? That's the question.
Yeah, tough teams. We'll have to see.
Is Tennessee ranked?
I should know this, but I have not paid too much attention to them recently.
Okay, no problem. I was just asking.
I should know that, though. That's on me, guys.
All right, guys, we're gonna do the pick'ems, and then obviously we're gonna leave Ole Miss and Florida for the last. We're gonna do the top 25 because for some reason my phone's glitching. I think it's because I didn't get it from the computer. Normally I get it from the computer, and I have the ESPN app, so it automatically tends to take me to the app when I just want the freaking full slate of games.
Right.
So I'll do the top 25.
We'll do a special episode.
Yep. And guys, we'll be doing a episode on our top 5 coaches. Hopefully, sometime this week, if Dylan has some time,
Okay.
besides our regular days of taping, we'll sneak in a hotboard show. We might even do it live if he has some time.
That would be awesome.
So let me go to ESPN real quick. First game I have here is Wisconsin at number 2, Indiana, and it sounds strange to say number 2.
Yeah, crazy year of football. Shout out Indiana. They're looking like real deal, even though Penn State probably should have won that game. Gave them a real shot there. I'm gonna go Indiana. I don't think Wisconsin's a very good football team. I think Indiana is. So yeah, that one's pretty simple to me. I think Indiana.
I'm going Indiana. There's no questions. I'm even shocked that the head coach of Wisconsin is still around, but he got a vote of confidence. I
Yeah,
don't know why. I can't explain it, but he's still going to stick around for another
it,
year.
it worked out.
South Carolina's versus Texas A&M, and there's a rumor that Mario Cristobal may be going after a quarterback from South Carolina to replace Carson Beck.
Yeah. I think I think Miami's gonna be going after the top guys, same way they did the last 2 years. Lenoris could be that guy. We'll have to see there. I think, me personally, I would be hard pressed to see him leave, but you never know. It's college football. This game, I think it's pretty simple. Texas A&M, flat out. I think they're
Yeah,
the better
Texas
football team.
A&M for me too.
Yeah, I think that one's easy.
Number 9, Notre Dame at number 22, Pitt.
Yeah, this one, I'm still on the edge of being a Notre Dame believer. I don't think I am. I don't think I'm thinking they're the number 9 team in the country, but at the same time, they did the same thing last year. They didn't look too well, and they didn't come out firing, and then they have an awesome back end of the year, and they make a little run there. So, Pitt, they found something at quarterback. I believe their freshman quarterback is just balling out, which is really
Mm-hmm.
awesome to see. That being said, I think Notre Dame's just a different caliber of team, always, and a different caliber of program, and I think Notre Dame gets it done.
I agree with you in that case. Um, the the only thing is, I agree with you in the sense that Notre Dame's on number 9, but they might sneak into the playoffs for all we
Yeah,
know.
I think so.
And I'm gonna pick Notre Dame on that game, even though my girl was saying Pitt, but I'm still gonna pick Notre Dame. Number 18, Michigan at Northwestern.
Yeah, this one is gonna be a ugly football game, and the fact that I don't think these are bad football teams, but it's just gonna be ugly. I feel like you get Northwestern into a game against a team like Michigan, and it's gonna be a defensive brawl. So if you like defensive football, you're gonna love that. I'm going with Michigan here. I think
Yeah.
Bryce Underwood's a good quarterback. I think Michigan just is, like I mentioned in the last game, they're just a different standard of football than Northwestern. But I wouldn't be surprised if Northwestern gives it a little run. I know Preston Stone's over there doing his thing. He was great at SMU, and now he's over there at Northwestern, kind of under the radar. But I'm going with Michigan. But give me a close game here.
I'm going with Michigan also. Number 24, which to me they should already be out of the rankings, but they're still hanging in there. I don't know why. South Florida at Navy.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. I think, I mentioned that I think South Florida is still a good team. I don't think they're a
Yeah,
great team. I don't think they're, they might sneak their way into the college football playoff, which would be awesome for the program, but I don't think they have a big shot at winning it. That
yeah,
being said, this is going to be a tight game. I think, Navy gives programs a run for its money all the time. They're a tough team to figure out. They're a tough team to handle. I think Galosh handles them. I think, I have a lot of respect for Alex Gallas. I'm not saying that he's a Florida candidate. I don't think he's there at that level yet, but I think he's a
Yeah.
good coach. So I think USF wins this one. We might see him in the playoffs, but it'll be interesting to watch them play out.
I'm gonna go with USF, but I know there's an outside shot Navy can upset USF.
I agree.
I don't really think they're the number 24 team in the country. Just my opinion. They're getting too much credit right now. Arizona at number 25, Cincinnati.
Ooh, this is a fun one. I like this one a lot. I like Arizona a lot. Um,
Yep.
Cincinnati's a good football team too. Surprised me a little. I'm gonna have some fun here. I'm gonna go with the upset. Give me Noah Fafita. Give me Arizona in a little bit of an upset, and let's shake some things up here.
I'm gonna take the safe bet. I like both teams just like Dylan, but I'm taking the safe bet. Give me Cincinnati.
I like it.
Number 11, Oklahoma at number 4, Alabama. And it sounds weird me saying number 4, Alabama after what their season started like.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good ball game, man. This is gonna be. I think most people will be watching this game. I'm going to take the upset here again. I mean, it sounds weird saying number 4 Alabama with the way they started the season. I think I'm high on Oklahoma, man. I think some people kind of lost a lot of faith in Oklahoma when John Mateer was dealing with injury, and they kind of forgot that he's a really good football player, really good quarterback, and when he was healthy, they were dominating. They were a really good football team. So I'm gonna take them to get back to that. I think this is their signature win where it's like people start realizing, all right, this team could be for real. Shout out Brett Venables. I wouldn't have never expected him to have this type of year. Last year, I was like, oh, he's not ready for the SEC, but clearly he is. So awesome for him, and give me Oklahoma here.
I like John Mateer. He's been injured, but he's also been inconsistent. I've seen 1 or 2 games, and I'm like, dude, you overthrew the guy by 10 yards.
Yeah, growing pains, growing pains.
It looks to me like a style of Baker Mayfield, but I'm still gonna go with Oklahoma. I'm not sold on the Alabama coach. Give me Oklahoma here.
I love it.
UCF at number 6, Texas Tech.
Yeah, this one's not gonna be a game. I know UCF has a good record. It might be a game.
No, they're 4-5.
They're 4-5 for Scott Frost's first year.
Yeah. Scott Frost, I got to give him his first year. Yeah.
But I think Texas Tech is just a great team this year. I think we've seen them kind of slow down a little bit, but at the end of the day, they're super talented. They're super fun to watch. Give me Texas Tech here in a bit of a blowout.
Give me Texas Tech in a blowout. I agree with Dylan on this one. Can NC State finish the Berry job? NC State at Miami.
Yeah, this one's gonna be fun. I mean, we've seen NC State,
Can they bury Miami and finish the choke job for Mario Cristobal?
We've seen NC State bury some highly ranked teams, and we've seen Miami, do this where they
Miami's 15 right now, so they're on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I think as much as I want to pull the upset, I think this is the year where Miami sneaks in. I think they tried to choke it, but I love NC State. I love their quarterback. I think he might be a really interesting transfer option. That being said, I don't think they're talented enough, and I think Miami, as much as it pains me to say it, is still super talented. So give me Miami here, unfortunately, but I'd love to see the upset.
I'm going to go with Miami, even though the spread is 14.5. And can somebody explain to me how's Miami 15 and Georgia Tech, which has one less loss, is 16?
Bias, Carlos, bias. I guess Miami had a good start to the year. I'll give them that.
because we got a number 16 Georgia Tech at Boston College, and I know where I'm going with this one.
Yeah, I think this one's probably the easiest one. Georgia
Okay.
Tech, Boston College is pretty bad this year.
Yeah, 1-9.
Yeah, yeah.
Give me Georgia Tech in a blowout. Number 21 Iowa and number 17 USC. And the USC coach is in my top 3. I'll give you guys that hint, but from my sources and Dylan's sources, they have not even spoken to Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I mean, I like Lincoln Riley too. I think a lot of fans just kind of scuffed their nose at him because of his reputation of
Yes.
kind of like not getting over the hump, but plenty of coaches that couldn't get over the hump find a way to get over the hump in a new program or even at their own program. We see that countless times. So as much as I don't think he will be the head coach here, especially considering I think we're trending for a certain someone, I like him a lot. In this matchup, I like him too. I think USC gets the win here. I think it's going to be an ugly game. Iowa is going to really test them because that's what Iowa does. They tested Oregon. They tested a couple teams this year. So I'm still pulling USC here, but I think it will be a dogfight for sure.
Give me USC and Lincoln Riley. I still believe he still needs to recoup 1 or 2 more years before you can actually see the Lincoln Riley effect taking you on USC. So give me Lincoln Riley. Next game, Virginia at Duke.
Yeah, this one, I think Virginia's quarterback is either doubtful or questionable.
And Virginia's number 19 according to the rankings.
Yeah, so that's a big factor in this game is if Chandler Morris is good to go. I mean, we saw it against FSU. That guy can be a game changer, a difference maker. He's been great his whole college career. That being said, even if he is playing, I'm tempted to take Duke. I love Duke. I love Mensah.
Yep.
He's a great quarterback. I think they're a great football team. So I'm gonna take Duke either way. Give me Duke here. But I think it'll be a fun game. And I think this has a lot of factors on if Miami can make the ACC championship, I believe I saw. So that's another storyline to watch out for.
Duke giving 4.5.
Yeah, so I guess they're expecting Morris not to play.
Yes.
So yeah, give me Duke here.
Give me Duke, even though they're the unranked team and they're the underdog at home. New Mexico State at number 23 Tennessee.
Yeah, there you go. So Tennessee is ranked number 23, just on the borderline. I think Tennessee wins this game pretty easily. I know New Mexico State has been a kind of sneaky team this year. I feel like we've picked them a couple times, but give me Tennessee here pretty easily.
Guys, I said this in one of the programs towards the beginning of the season with Dylan here. I said Utah could possibly sneak in, and they're right there to sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Number 13, Utah. Oh, I'm picking Tennessee, guys. So don't even think that I'm going to pick New Mexico State because it's not going to. Number 13, Utah at Baylor.
Yeah, I was high about Utah too. I thought Utah was a playoff team, and I still think they are. I love Devon Dampierre. I love that addition, and I'm going with them here. And I think, like you said, I think they get into the playoffs, and they could be a sneaky team, man. I think they could win a couple games in the playoffs if they get hot. So give me Utah here.
Their head coach, if it was a realistic shot that he would leave Utah, I would want him, but I know it's not. He would be in my top 10. I even spoke to Dan about it because he has Urban Meyer tendencies. He was under Urban Meyer for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Before he took the job here. And then he took the job at Utah and has never looked back. So, like Whittingham a lot. I'm going to take Utah. I've been bitten by Baylor, and obviously Baylor's having a bad year. They're 5-4.
Yeah.
UCLA at number 1, Ohio State.
Yeah, this one's pretty easy. I know. sorry, but you got to go Ohio State here. Ohio State's looking like a monster coming into the playoffs. I think they're number one team in the nation. They're probably the favorite to win.
Yep.
So I'm going Ohio State. I think they're in for another good run in the CFP this year.
Okay, the first top 10 matchup. Number 10, Texas, at number 5, Georgia, and also give me Ohio State.
Ooh, Texas, Georgia. I feel like both of these teams are teams I'm not going to feel confident in once playoffs start, but both of them could be playoff teams. I think, if Texas loses this game, they're probably going to be on the outside looking in.
They're going to be out. If they lose this game, they're going to be out.
And I think they do lose this game just because I think, out of the two that I wouldn't consider, competitors, I think Texas is more of the fraud than Georgia.
Yep.
So I'm going to go Georgia. I'm going to take Georgia to win, but I think this will be an evenly played game. And I think, Texas has a little bit of a edge there trying to keep themselves in the playoffs. So I could see a world where they win, but give me Georgia here.
Give me Georgia here too. Second to last game before we pick the main game for the show. And I already know where I'm going with this one because I believe there's a certain team that's a fraud and should not even be in the picture. TCU at number 12. Number 12, BYU.
Yeah, ooh. This is, I was right there with you. I thought BYU was a little overrated. I've come around on them a little bit, man. I think BYU is a solid football team. I'm becoming a little bit of a believer. That being said, I love TCU, man. I love TCU. I love Josh Hoover. As much as his turnovers are going to drive me crazy every time I turn on the game, he's throwing some pick where I'm like, why? What are we doing?
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I was watching the Texas Tech BYU game last week a little bit, and I was like, no.
Yeah. So I'm a big believer in TCU. I love Eric McAllister. I love Josh Hoover. Dwyer, the other wide receiver, is really tough too. So I'm going to take TCU upset just to have some fun with it. I think BYU, I give them their respect. I think they're a good football team, but give me TCU in a little bit of a stunner.
Spread is only, BYU giving 3.5.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be way, way bigger.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm going to have to go with Dylan on this one. Give me, no. It's a home game for BYU. I'm going to go with BYU, and I say they still stay in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just because it's a home game.
I agree. I could see it.
All right, guys, and now we're getting to our game. Unranked Florida 3-6 at number 7, Ole Miss, and there will be some people that will be wearing some orange and blue jerseys saying we are coming to pose your coach in the Grove. So It's gonna get crazy, but it's not for the right reasons. Give me your 5 keys. I'll give my 5 keys, and we'll give our final score. You don't have to be a Gator. You can give them another loss if you want to.
Sounds good. All right. So my number 1 key, I think this one is pretty obvious, is just get DJ Lagway comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I think, the staff has been making that their top priority. They made it a priority against Kentucky. Obviously, that was it didn't work out too well, but get them comfortable on the road again. SEC environment, as I mentioned before, it's going to be a tough environment. So, whatever it takes to get them comfortable. I know it's easier said than done, but that's number 1. I think a good DJ Lagway and a comfortable DJ Lagway gives this Gators team a much better chance of winning the football game. Number 2 is just, establish the run. And I don't know what was going on against Kentucky, but the run blocking was not great. It felt like there was no opportunities for Jaden Ball. So establish the run. Number 3 is eliminate turnovers. We saw that against Kentucky. The Katie Daniels fumble and obviously the Lagway 3 interceptions kind of demoralized this team and let it get out of hand like it did. Number 4 is I just need to see someone, a wide receiver, step up, whether it's J Mike, whether it's VB3, one of them, whether it's Nashawn Montgomery, whether it's TJ Abrams, one of these guys needs to step up. I think I've been asking for a J Mike game, throughout his whole career. He's always had these games where he goes for like 5 for 130 and a touchdown, 6 catches, 100 yards, a touchdown. And we haven't seen that at Florida yet. I really want to see that happen.
He's running out of time.
Exactly. He's running out of time, and I've seen flashes of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing. I think, getting him involved will be a big key. And then my last key is just, we need everyone to show up and kind of play like it's game one. You know what I mean? And I think, everyone kind of understands that is needed to stick in a football game, but it's easier said than done. Like I said, Florida's season is over. You're fighting for bowl eligibility, and even then, that's going to be really tough to achieve. So I really just need Florida to, play like it's game one, play like their season's still alive, play for whatever it is, NFL film, portal film, next year, with the new coach film, whatever it is, you need to play like, it means something to you. And I don't think this roster will have a problem with that, but that is a big key. I think when you have an interim head coach, the biggest key of being able to win a game like this is if you can keep your players playing for the logo and everything like that. So those are my 5 keys. Most of them are pretty obvious, pretty simple, but at this point in the season, you got to keep it simple. There's not much left to be said about this team other than just go out there and hope that talent that we know they have can finally flourish. Game predictions. I want to be a Disney Gator, man. I want to say, listen, we've been picking the Gators so much that I'm rolling with it, but I can't see it. And this one's gonna pain me the most because even when I have picked other teams in the past, I've kept it close. I'm gonna go with 28 to 14, 28-14 Ole Miss. I think, Florida keeps it close in the first half maybe, and then it kind of spirals a little. I think Ole Miss is just too talented, too good of a head coach, too much to lose. I think, you're fighting for a playoff spot, you're fighting for your coach, you're fighting for a lot of things. So I think that ultimately Ole Miss is just the better team. That's what we see on Saturday, but let's hope I'm wrong here, and let's hope that Florida can pull off another shocker like we saw last year.
Gator Nation, you're going to hate me also when I'm done with my 5 keys. 5 keys are for Florida winning. DJ Lagway needs to show leadership. Number 2, DJ Lagway needs to play like a former 5-star. Number 3, run the ball. Number 4, keep DJ Lagway clean, and someone needs to help him fix that hop step. I know it's not going to happen this season, but his overthrows are on a simple hop step, going backwards, not setting his feet. He needs to try to mentally understand that he needs to set his feet. It cannot be done all arm, because if you're going to have this issue in college, you're going to have it in the NFL, and you're going to end up being another Anthony Richardson, unfortunately. All talent, but you're going to be benched. Number 5, play with some effort. And someone needs to become a leader. I read a partial article, or read the headline actually. It's from Gators SI. I don't know who wrote it, saying that VB3 needs to step up and become the leader of the offense in order for this team to make a bowl game. Guys, we have not missed 2 bowl games in a span of 3 to 4 years since 1984 and 1986. My final score is Ole Miss 35, our Florida Gators 17.
Whew. You're more down than I am. It's tough. It's tough.
When I heard your score, I was like, he gave him 14. I gave him 17.
Listen, I'm riding with my guys, Carlos.
But guys, we'll try to schedule a special show for our picks to who's going to be the next head coach, and we'll do it live if you can. If you can't, then we'll record it and you guys can watch it on YouTube. Also, guys, you can follow the audio versions of this and all my videos on all your podcast platforms. I'm not going to name them all. They're slowly being uploaded to all the podcast platforms. And follow my friend and co-host at Dylan Olive _UF. Follow his work at Gators SI. Follow Cam Parker. Follow Tyler. Follow Sam. And you know the rest of the spiel. But like always, guys, stay positive, stay on your grind. And even remember one thing. If we lose, we still win because we're getting a new head coach. Like always, stay positive, stay on your grind, and go Gators. Peace.